Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya ala salat. Hayya ala salat. Hayya ala falah. Hayya ala falah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa nu'minu bihi azza wa jalla. Wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah. Wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een, amma ba'd. Ayyuhal Muslimun. With Allah's name, the Merciful Benefactor, the Merciful Redeemer. All praise belongs to Allah, the God and Evolver, the Cherisher, Keeper, Sustainer of all the systems of knowledge. We seek His help. We ask for His forgiveness. We put our faith and our trust in Him. Mighty and sublime is He. I bear witness that there is nothing worthy of worship except Allah alone, the one and only. There is none like unto Him. And I bear witness that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to whom the Quran was revealed 1400 years ago, is Allah's servant, messenger, prophet to all of mankind. We ask Allah's peace, His blessings, His highest exaltations be upon Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, upon his family, his companions, the righteous all. On you, O Muslims, be peace. Assalamu alaikum. Greetings to our brothers and sisters here in MASJID MUHAMMED in Jacksonville, Florida. Greetings of peace to our Jumah conference line audience. Those of you all who are joining us live on Facebook or will watch our post later, and also on our YouTube channel, Al-Islam Worldwide Ministry. Greetings to you. Peace be with you, our Christian brothers and sisters. Shalom to our Jewish brothers and sisters. Special greetings to Janina, Abdullah in Malaysia, regular viewer, Anwar Sultan in Hawaii, Donald Eubanks in Yucatan, Mexico, Omadosa Amin Mohammed in the U.S. Virgin Islands, Rahima Abdul Wadud in Ghana, our brothers and sisters in Bermuda, Trinidad, and those of you all throughout these United States of America. And my greeting go out also to my brother Babanginda Saminu, I think I got it right this time, in Nigeria. And greetings to our brothers and sisters in Nigeria, Indonesia, and all of you all throughout the world. And we are so happy that we're able to connect with you around the world from the United States of America. And you have many brothers and sisters that are Muslims in America of all backgrounds, not just African Americans. I know you see us because we are utilizing and taking advantage of the technology. And we are the largest group now. We are the largest group of indigenous Muslims in these United States of America. The African American Muslim community is the largest indigenous group of Muslims, as it should be. And our numbers are growing, and Islam is growing. I'm speaking to the Muslim community now around the world. Our numbers are growing in America, so don't have any worries about us. I think we're more concerned about you all than you all about us. We're gonna be fine in the USA. This is our home. They can't throw us out and send us back. No, they can't send us back. Isn't that something? They work you to death and then say, go back. I'm going to be quoting some out of this book today, on the Land of Enterprise, the Business History of America, the second part of Jumah, how they benefited so much and offer free labor from our folk, and now they rich, the most powerful nation on earth, and they want to tell the children of the descendants of slaves who built it, yeah, y'all did a good job, and y'all going back to Africa. Well, we free. We can tell you go back to Europe. And we stay here. How about that? But this is a land of opportunity for everybody. So Islam is growing in America. So I'm talking to our brothers and sisters overseas. And Islam is growing in America. And whenever we invite you to come and travel from one end of America to the other to see your Muslim brothers and sisters in these United States of America. I think you would be real pleased and happy to see the growth in our institutions and our knowledge, our growth of the knowledge, the correct knowledge of the Quran and the life of Muhammad the Prophet, praise and peace be upon him. And when you come visit us now, don't look to hear us or see us following, and I've said this before, and I'm saying it out of respect. I'm not saying these things out of disrespect. I'm saying it out of respect. Don't look to see us and look for practices of the Imam Shafi, Hanbali, Maliki, Hanafi. Don't look for that. But if you look for that, you're not going to find that in us. Not the majority of us. You might find one or two of us that don't have a sense of identity and belonging, but you won't find it in the majority of us. So don't look for that. Look for the Quran and the Sunnah, the life practice of Muhammad the Prophet. And you'll find that in the great majority of the indigenous African American Muslims, followers of Imam Muhammad. Our subject today, the reward of the righteous. The reward of the righteous. Chapter 18, Surah Al-Kahf, the cave, beginning verse 30. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. With God's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. Inna alladhina amanu wa amilu salihati inna la nudi'u ajra man asana amala. Sadaqallahu al-Azim, God the Mighty spoke the truth. As for those who believe, and this belief is belief in God now. As to for those who believe. See, Allah, He doesn't have to say, this is chapter 18. So God didn't have to say all the time, once He revealed to the prophet, those who believe in Allah, those who believe in God, those who believe in Allah. So those who believe. But I've shared with you before that when the Quran says, Inna alladhina amanu wa amilu salihat, it's including all people of faith, all people who believe in God. So God is not making a distinction here to say those who believe in Allah as Muslims. No. Those who are believers in God. Whoever say they believe in God. So Muslims, keep your mind open now. Keep your mind open and have a broad mind that we say Allahu Akbar. We say that in Arabic, right? God is greater. But the Christians say what I just said in English. The Christians say God is greater. And the Christians and the Jews too, they say praise God, praise God. And we Muslims, we say what? Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. It's just Arabic, same thing. Praise God, praise God. Say Alhamdulillah. That means Allah, God. We say Allah is God, the Creator. When we say God, Allah, we're not talking about Prophet Muhammad. Let's be clear. Nope. Peace be upon the Prophet. We're not talking about Jesus Christ. Nope. We're not talking about Moses. Nope. We're not talking about anybody. We're definitely not talking about Imhotep. Nope. We're not talking about Amun-Ra. Nope. We're not talking about Thor and Zeus. Nope. We're talking about the creator of the heavens and the earth and all in between. The God that made everything before he placed any human beings on it. He has no color. He has no skin. He has no human form. He doesn't take any human form. He doesn't go to sleep. He doesn't get tired. He doesn't wake up. He doesn't age. He doesn't eat, drink, walk, talk like we do as humans. No, we're talking about the creator. Made all of the trees, the animals, the oceans, the rivers, the sky. That's the God. The sun, the moon, the star. That's the God that we're talking about. If you give us a birthday for your quote-unquote so-called God, well, you just eliminated him from the God. We don't accept that. You have a birthday and you have a place you say he was born at? No, we can't accept that. That's not the real God. If you can tell us where he was born at, then that means he must have had a mother and a father somewhere. So, well, who was the God of the mother and the father if they're waiting on the God to be born? This don't even make any sense. So that's not the God we talking about when we say Allah. So this God, Allah, the creator, he doesn't have to say all the time. Those who believe in God, he said, Inna ladhina amanu wa amilu salihati, as to those who believe in God. And in America, they did a survey, Pew Research Center did a survey. They say, they didn't ask me, but they spoke on my behalf when they said it. 85% of the American public believe in God. Isn't that wonderful? I know we got 393 million guns. I know Canada only had 18 mass shooters since, 15 mass shootings since 1885. Now, think about this now. That's over 130, almost 140. 1885, they only had 15 mass shootings. We've had 252 since January of this year. So you say, well, how can 85% of the people believe in God? I'm going to answer it. It's right here in the Quran now. The next sentence I read, the next line. So 85% of the people in America believe in God, but they so violent and they're killing each other in mass murder. Okay, here's the second part of this. As to those who believe, what? And amil salihah, work righteousness. That's the problem in America. Not people saying they believe in God. The problem is they're not supporting and backing up their faith with good works. That's the problem in our society. And that's the problem in most nations. That's the problem in most societies where the people say we believe in God, but they don't show it in their work. They don't show it in their behavior. They don't show it in their life. So when they don't show it in their behavior and their life, you have the problems that we have in Western nations and the problem we have in Western society, though the great majority of the people, statistically 85%, say yes, we believe in God. We believe there's a God. But your society doesn't reflect that. It's because of the behavior of the people. So God says, as to those who believe and do righteousness, work good work, and solely, just in case now, You don't understand what I just said. I know those of you all in the audience here and around the world who speak Arabic, you know exactly what Salihah means. Salihah means what I'm talking about. Salihah means you work to improve society. You work to rehabilitate a society like Muhammad the Prophet did in Arabia. The society needed rehabilitation. Like Europe, when they were in the Dark Ages, they needed rehabilitation. Like many parts of Africa, they needed, well, they still need rehabilitation. Europe too. And like the United States of America needs rehabilitation. That's Salihah. So God says, those who believe, remember the subject now, don't forget it, the reward of the righteous. God says, whoever has faith, then work to improve the life of man on this earth. So Muslims, I don't know if we are aware that we have a tremendous responsibility on our shoulders to help improve the life of our neighborhood. Now it starts at home. Starts at home first. We have responsibilities to improve our families, our home, make sure we have the best home life as possible. There ain't gonna be no saints, you're not gonna have that. But you have to work to make sure that you and your family, as I was mentioning to one of my friends in the reunion, the Blodgett Home reunion we had last week in Jacksonville. And he was, I don't know why, well, no, I know why. He knows me. And Qasim, you know him if I name him, but I won't. We all grew up with him. And Ernest, we know him too. And he was telling me, we were discussing the violence in the city. And he was recollecting what we used to do with the work in the community, the projects and all. And then he told me, and I don't know why he said that to me. Yeah, you know, I was out here running drugs and this. I looked right in his eyes and I said, well, then you were part of the problem. And he said, yes, I was a part of the problem, but I don't want to be a part of the problem no more. I said, well, the way you started, stop selling drugs. Well, you think I was afraid of him? No, and he knew I wasn't. So that's why he told me he was used to sell drugs. I think he still does. And I just told him, I said, well, you got to start with yourself, because you're creating problems out here in the neighborhood. And it was almost like a contradiction. He's like, well, I want to help. He said, well, the way to help is to stop selling dope. How about starting right there and stop killing your own people in the neighborhood? So he said he's going to call me and talk to me. I ain't heard from him yet. I'll tell you later who it was. I don't want to out him on Facebook because I gave him one of my cards to listen to Jumah. Salihah. Work to improve life for man on this earth. Start with your family. And then in the neighborhood. Listen, if we did this, follow what God said. Every home did it. Took responsibility. Just start with you. And then your children, your brothers and your sisters, your nephews, nieces, and cousins. See, that's why I said we have responsibility. And then the friends you know. And if you know they're working to hurt the neighborhood community, you don't need to call the police. You become the police. In a good way, what I'm saying. You know there's such a thing as citizens arrest. I'm not telling you all to arrest anybody. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is arrest their thinking. Arrest their behavior. Say something to it. Address it, and don't be afraid to tell them, look, we have to change things, and the change begins with each one of us. All right? So if we did that, can you imagine that spread? That's what happened in the time of Prophet Muhammad in Medina. And that's why it's called Medina al-Munawwarah. The city is spreading light. See? He was spreading that light. And then when he went to Europe and in the Dark Ages, started spreading that light. And then that light started spreading across the then known world. Then it spread to Africa. And that light made its way to Asia, to China. I don't call it the Middle East Asia. That's the Middle East. And some parts of it connected to Africa. Egypt, Morocco, and other places. And they just want to, well, that's another story. Let me keep going. So the light spread to China. And Muhammad the Prophet is reported to have said, seek knowledge, even if you have to go to China. Because China is an ancient civilization. So the knowledge spread there. So hundreds of millions of Muslims are in China. You'd be surprised, but there are maybe hundreds of millions in Russia. And the largest Muslim nation on earth right now is not Saudi Arabia. It is not Egypt. It's 100% Muslim. Saudi Arabia is 100% Muslim. They have 25 million plus people, 100% Muslim. But they are not the largest Muslim community on earth. The largest Muslim community on earth is in Indonesia. Over 200 million Muslims in Indonesia, 100% Muslim. So how is Islam an Arab religion when the largest community of Muslims is in Indonesia? 65% of Africa, the continent of Africa, 65% are Muslim. Yes. We getting there. I'm talking about we, America. They fighting hard, but we getting there. Hey, can you stop the sun from rising? I'm talking about the sun in the sky. Huh? You can say what you want to say. And Allah Ta'ala say, can you blow out the sunlight? You can't blow that out. I don't care how hot it is. It was 107 degrees in Dallas when I was out there last week. And I had no power to say, blow out the light. I couldn't even adjust the temperature on the sun. You can do that in your house, can't you? Adjust the thermostat, the temperature. Well, I tell you what, you got the power to adjust the sun rays, the heat of the sun. Man has the power to adjust that, to turn down. Say it's too hot. It's 107, I'm turning it down to 87 or 77. You got the power to do that? See, that's the God we believe in. When we say Allah is greater, the God who made the sun, and it's 107 and we can't turn the temperature down. And when the hurricanes start blowing, Allah, please hold them off for us in Florida. When those hurricanes start raging and ripping through the Atlantic, who has the power to stop the ocean swells and the surge of water and wind? Man becomes a small, insignificant creature running for his life. Yeah, they tell me, get out of there. And I like our mayor here in the city, Mayor Lenny Curry. He said, look, this storm will kill y'all. Get from out of there. I said, he ain't biting his tongue on that one. And the rich people be running. Storm don't care nothing about how much money you have. They don't say, hey, wait a minute, don't blow that house down because that house is worth $5 million. No, it doesn't matter. So you see the rich people. Ponte Vedra, you all on Facebook and listening to me, that's a rich area down near the beach. I like that area, but when I saw the hurricane, I said, no, I better stay safe where on high ground. They run out of there every year. We shall not suffer, God says, the reward of the righteous. Those who believe, Muslims, Christians, Jews, whoever, and do good work to help mankind on this earth, improve his life on this earth. Allah, God, the God that I'm talking about, the Creator, says this to Muhammad: verily, we shall not cause to be lost, cause to perish the reward of anyone who does even one single deed. You won't lose it. God says this. This is God's promise. He says, whoever have faith in him and work to improve the life of man on this planet, however small your efforts are, you might think it's not even significant. But God said, even if it's one good deed you did, I'm crediting you for that good deed that you did. And he didn't say only the Muslims get it, or the Christians get it, or the Jews get it. So we're the chosen people. All people are chosen. Yeah, all people are chosen. God chose us. We wouldn't exist. And God says, لَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. And surely he has given honor, nobility, dignity to all of Adam's children. And we're going to be discussing this coming up this week, inshallah, God willing, on Al-Islam Worldwide Ministry, when we start talking about racism. Because it's really a sickness in the heart and the mentality of one group of people or groups of folk that took themselves and made them. God didn't do it. They took it upon themselves to make themselves superior to others and talk down on other folk to make the other folk make themselves feel inferior. And they claim titles for themselves that God never put on any of us. We're the chosen people. Oh, chosen to do what? I can't stand up here and tell you. Now, I can put it in a context. I can say this and I'll be right. We have been selected. Notice how I'm phrasing this now. Not because of any, in fact, the reverse is true. Not because of superiority, but because of the inferiority we were sold. We, the African Americans, indigenous in Americas, we have been selected by God to carry the mantle of the Quran and the life of Muhammad the Prophet in America and shed its light, new light, with Muslims all over the world and people all over the world. Yes, we have been selected to do that. Well, ain't no doubt about it. I'm standing up here with the Quran open. So how could you question that? And this is all over the United States of America. And in the islands where we have communities of Imam worth of Imam. This is a tremendous blessing for us in America because this is the clearest light for the guidance of man on this earth since it was revealed to Muhammad the Prophet. There's no light that burns brighter. Well, just show it to me. You all on Facebook, show it to me. Send me a message. And if it's brighter than the Quran, I want that. Don't send me the Bible, and I don't mean any disrespect. Because I have the Bible. I had it. I have it. We had it. We have it. Nice little warm light. Has some light illumination in it. I'm not being disrespectful, downplaying. But it wasn't bright enough to bring us out of the darkness that we were put in by those who claim superiority over us. There ain't no chosen people. We're all created by God. In fact, Muhammad the Prophet said, you're all the children of Adam, and Adam was made from dust. There's no superiority of one race or group over another just by virtue of your race that you belong to. Well, this is the superior race. Well, you die like everybody else, so what kind of superiority is that? Now, I get what you're saying on the high level. I understand what you're saying. But the common people, they take it to mean you better than anybody else. No, you have put yourself in a very high position over everybody. But that has nothing to do with your race. That has to do with you racing. Stop it, Quran. I just gave you a verse from the Quran. So compete as a competitor in a race for all the goods, and you just got a jump start on everybody. You cheated, actually. We were all standing there thinking it was equal play, equal. equal level playing field. So everybody ready. Ready, said, you go. So, I thought we were. Well, you thought we were gonna win when y'all was shooting gun? We gone. And oh, by the way, we using y'all to build it up for us. We will not suffer to perish the reward of any who do a single good deed. Verse 31. أولئك لهم جنة عدن تجري من تحتها الأنهار يحلون فيها من أساور من ذهب ويلبسون ثيابا خضرا من سدس واستبرق متكئين فيها على أرائك نعم الثواب وحسنت مرتفقا. Beautiful. For those who have faith and work to help improve the life of mankind, we won't cause them to lose any of their good works, not even if it's just one single deed or small deed. God says this, now I'm reading. For them will be, now look, the reward of the righteous. So here's what God is saying He's going to do. For them will be gardens of eternity. Jannatin adnan. How would you like a garden that never ends? Now, this is picture language in the Quran now. Jannah. Jannah. Garden. When you hear the word garden, Jannah is paradise. But when you hear the word translated used, garden suggests what? Production. Production. Something productive. But here is a production and productivity and output that never ends. Adnan, Jannatin, Adnan, gardens, eternity of eternity. Message. Whatever you put out, invest in, work in, you won't lose the results of it. Eternity means as long as the earth abides, if you put the effort and investment in your garden, working on something, producing something, the next generation pick it up. The next generation pick it up. See, that's what it means. Never ending. Eternal. You're gone. I'm gone. But you left something back here. You left a garden that somebody else is still working in, developing. And maybe they can expand it and take it to another level that you couldn't even take it to. So each successive generation pick up where one generation leaves off. And if you do that, then it never ends. Don't just put your mind on the hereafter all the time. I tell you that. You living here right now. So you should be working for something that don't stop. There'll be gardens of eternity. Tajri min tahti himul anhar. Beautiful language. But now this language is for production now. So you got to connect everything that follows what I just said about the garden. Everything connects to the garden. And it connects to production and output. Morally, spiritually, intellectually, socially, economically. Don't leave out any area now. Beneath them, the gardens. And this is what keeps it growing. Keep it growing. Beneath them will be rivers overflowing. Water overflowing. So the picture is given, if the water is underneath the garden, it's coming from a source that you're not supplying the water from. Because we supply the water from the top for the garden. We out there The modern technology now with irrigation, I've seen the machine, they just water it, and then Allah, like in Florida and other places, God bless it, the water just come right out of the sky. So you got water coming from high and up here, and then you got water coming from underneath. And I really don't have the time to get into the deep insight of Imam Muhammad's language on that, so I'll just give you a little bit of it. How the human sentimentality, that's the natural sentiments in the human being that flow from within. And the water that comes from the top is the knowledge and the revelation that comes down upon the human mind and the intellect. But let's go back and connect it to the God. Because I always want to make sure it makes some real connection, sense to the real world. Well, here's water flowing underneath. And it's feeding what's on top. But where's the water coming from? Where's the cash? Did I say cash? Where's the flow coming from? Now I'm gonna go somewhere with this because Allah just gave it to me, so it's nowhere in my notes. I'll be honest with you. See if you can see this. It's in the soil, the water's underneath, and the water is feeding the garden, the production, and it's coming from a source that you can't see it. But it's the souls of the ancestors. Yeah, I told you a lot. Just gave me this one now. It's the souls of the ancestors that was buried in Charleston, South Carolina. And the souls of the ancestors that was buried in Jamestown, Virginia. The souls of the ancestors buried in Cordell, Georgia, in Florida, in Mississippi, in Alabama, in Tennessee. Their blood wet the soil. And it's required of God to cause the flow from their blood to feed the generations that walk on this earth from those ancestors. So as gardens beneath which waters flow, the blessing is coming from the death of the ancestors to feed the survivors of the descendants of slaves. And it's the souls of my ancestors that's feeding that in me. From the Geeches in Charleston, South Carolina. So can they pay us? Or is God the best to pay us? They can't pay us. They can't repatriate us. They can't recompense us. God says, don't worry about them. I got you. I'm going to give you an ever stream of water flowing. And it ain't going to stop as long as you all on this earth. Allah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. With God's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. I witness there's nothing worthy of worship except Allah alone, the one and only, there is no like unto him. And I bear witness that Prophet Muhammad, to whom the Quran was revealed 1400 years ago, is Allah's servant, messenger, prophet to all of mankind. Greetings to you all again here at Masjid Muhammad and Facebook in our conference line. Assalamu alaikum. I know how you're feeling, because that's how I feel right now. I know. Praise be to Allah. They will be adorned. Listen to this now. This is prophetic. And we wonder why our young men feel the need to do this. Yeah. They will be adorned therein with bracelets of gold. What? Oh, you see the young brothers wearing the gold chains around their neck? God told Prophet Muhammad, I'm making this relevant to us. It has no connection to us. What are you reading? What's the point? And those of you all in the world community, you should look for relevance for your circumstances when you're reading the Quran. Because it's a guide for human life on this earth. You don't need a guide in the hereafter. You think you need a Quran in the hereafter? For what? You're already in. You need it here. And they will be adorned with bracelets of gold. I'm almost certain that our folk have no idea this was prophesied in relation to us now, that a time would come when the poor children of the descendants of slaves would walk around like they were rich kings and queens with gold all around their neck. God said, they will be adorned therein with bracelets of gold. And they will wear green garments. What's green? Life. Production. And let me tell you something now. I had the green outfit on before I had this in my mind to wear the green before I read the verse in the Quran about the green garments. I have to have on green. Money green. Ain't no accident. And they were, green is a sign of life. Production. See? Production. That's what it's telling us. They will be productive members of society. They will wear green garments of gold. And they will wear silk. Well, I thought silk was haram. That's not what the Quran says. It says you're going to wear fine silk brocade. That's what God said. I'm reading it, chapter 18, verse 31. They will wear fine. I already know what you said. I picked it up and I heard some of y'all in Facebook land. But I shouldn't hear after. Well, why am I reading it here? They'll wear green garments of fine silk and heavy brocade, ornaments, decorations. They will relax and recline on raised thrones. Now, I don't know about you, but this doesn't sound like any poor folk at all. How good the reward. How excellent the reward. How beautiful a couch. And you all can't see on Facebook, but we have these beautiful couches here, gold couches for our sisters to sit on in MASJID MUHAMMED. And God says right here in the Quran, say how good the reward will be, how beautiful the couches you're going to sit on and recline on. Why tell me how this is a religion that teach poverty when God is talking about gold and silk and brocade and thrones and what are you reading? And don't hurry up and turn the page. No, stay there for a while, and in fact, go read that a few times. So, well, wait a minute now, where my gold at? Where my green garments and my fine silk? Where my thrones, high chairs, and thrones and counters? What? And if somebody come bother you, say, brother, look, IMAM read chapter 18, verse 31 now, so I memorize it. As Malcolm said, you've been hoodwinked and bamboozled. And you didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on you. We're not going to be Muslims in this religion and ignore the beautiful, elegant verses in the Quran that calls us to high living, high life. We're not going to ignore that. Now, my conclusion, this is they call it now Project 1619. This is the 400th year from 1619 when the first slaves arrived at, listen to this, they tell us Jamestown, Virginia. It was near Jamestown, but the area is called Point Comfort, Virginia. Point Comfort? Who was that comfortable for? Very uncomfortable for our ancestors. Wasn't nothing comfortable about that. And the journey itself, 5 months from West Africa. First slaves left from Angola. And USA Today has done the research, and the first African-American family called the Tucker family in Virginia arrived at Point Comfort, Virginia. But the journey itself was very uncomfortable. 5 months on a boat. People dying along the Middle Passage, divorce. This is our history of our ancestors. And I'm not retelling it and reliving it for us to feel bad about it. No, no, no. I want us to never forget it. Like the Jews said, never again. And don't forget it so we can appreciate the blessings and how far we have come, the blessings that God has bestowed on us and the people behind us, what they went through. And they would drop, some of them would throw the babies off into the Atlantic Ocean. Rather than bring them to Virginia and Carolina and all these slave plantations. They would jump off the ships themselves. In fact, most of the ships, the Batista that brought and would you believe they had one called the good ship Jesus too? Yeah, the ship was called Jesus. So when the slaves were saying, I want Jesus to come back and get me, they were talking about that ship coming back. Yeah. So they heard the masters talking about Jesus, the ship. Jesus, what's the name of the ship? Jesus. Jesus coming back. They thought that ship was coming back to get, never did, never came back. In fact, none of the ships ever came back. 10 million of us wound up here, slaves in growth through generations and procreation and all that, all right? But now I want to tell you this before I conclude. Sharks used to follow the slave ships so they could eat and feed off the human cargo that was thrown overboard. That's the journey. So those didn't make it. The ones who made it were the strongest survivors. Our ancestors were the strongest survivors because we're here. So only the strong survive. Remember this all? So only the strongest Africans from the west coast of Africa, Angola, Zambia, the Ivory Coast, Guinea, Ghana, Sierra Leone, Senegal, and others along that line. Only the strongest males and females survive the Middle Passage 5-month journey. Weeks, the weak ones couldn't survive it. That's the history. The land of enterprise. I've read this to you before, but in relationship to the 400-year anniversary. A business history of the United States by Benjamin Waterhouse. Let's see what he said, a couple of things here. On average, slaves were worth $200 each in the early 19th century, and some were worth far more. Solomon Northrop recounted a negotiation over an attractive young girl for whom a white man offered $5,000. By the eve of the Civil War, historians estimate that the total cash value of the 4 million slaves at the end of the Civil War in the American South was $3.5 billion in 1860 money. At more than 80% of the country's total economic output, that figure would be roughly $13.8 trillion today. Understood in that way, enslaved people were capital assets worth more than the country's entire productive capacity for manufacturing, trade, and railroads combined. Did you hear that? 80% of the GDP, that's what we produce. And our productivity and our productive capacity exceeded manufacturing, trade, and railroads combined at that time. Well, you should get this book and read it. One last paragraph I want to read, and then we'll pray. Slavery and capitalism were also deeply linked through the dual nature of slaves themselves, as not just a source of labor, but also, listen, a store of capital value. Southern slave owners used their chattel, human property, ownership, slave, as collateral for mortgages to expand their land holdings. Planners like James Henry Hammond made capital investments outside their own industries, purchasing stocks in railroad corporations. And urban slave owners, renting out their slaves' labor, monitored the market to consider when to buy and when to sell. The spirit of capitalism was far from uncommon in slave society. The history of slavery was deeply intertwined with the history of capitalist development. In the 60 years after American independence, the northern and southern economies both developed rapidly and in tandem, and business people in both the slave South and the free North relied on the federal government to advance their economic interests. Southerners used the military to secure new territory, the police to enforce slave codes and prevent rebellion, and the taxing authority of the federal government to promote the export of cotton. Northerners relied on state investments in infrastructure and the protection of domestic manufacturing. From wealthy slave owner planners to northern merchants and bankers, as well as the manufacturers who grew rich producing textiles from slave-grown cotton, the business of bondage shaped all aspects of the early American economy. End quote. So, let there be no doubt, and there is no doubt. And oh, by the way, This book wasn't written by a Muslim. Not that I'm aware of, he's a Muslim. Benjamin C. Waterhouse, an honest European American, telling the business history of America. And we all should make sure we have this in our homes and share it with our children. So when these crazy people start talking crazy, and I'm talking about from Pharaoh on down, tell them, say, look, you already, when you speak to us, you should speak with the utmost of respect, not insults, because we built this place. And you wouldn't even have an economy to talk about if it wasn't for the slave labor of our ancestors. رَبِّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. Our Lord, give us the best that this world has to offer, and grant us the best that the next life has to offer us, and save us from the punishment of the fires of sin. Ameen. إقام الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله. You all in the front line, please step up so they can have some move behind you. Thank you. And make sure your lines are straight. Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا صراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا عنك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك فإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر.
الله أكبر.
الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر.
الله أكبر.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا صراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر.
الله أكبر.
الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. تقبل الله.
Sorry about that.